How does an as-is contract work? Let's take a look at that. Hello everybody, ShayneVoris from eXp Realty here. Thank you very much for tuning in, and real quick before we get started, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Click the subscribe button and that notification bell so that you don't miss out on the next video with the latest real estate news and tips and tricks that will help you get the most out of your purchase or sale. Today we're talking about the real estate contract. More specifically, the Florida as-is purchase contract, which is the most commonly used contract for residential real estate in the state of Florida. It is known as the FAR as-is contract because it was created by the Florida Association of Realtors in conjunction with the Florida Bar Association. These two groups also update and revise the contract as necessary and typically publish a revision about every 18 months. Now that you know what the as-is contract is, let's take a look at how it works. Like most purchase contracts, the terms of the agreement must be clearly defined and signed off on by all parties involved. These include, but are not limited to, who the buyer is, who the seller is, the purchase price, the financing terms, the closing date, all things that you're probably pretty familiar with a real estate contract. But no repairs, right? Well, not so fast. The as-is contract also includes the right to inspect and the right to cancel if the buyer chooses, so long as that's done during the inspection period that was negotiated into the contract itself. Some people are pretty surprised to learn that a buyer can still request that repairs be made even with an as-is contract. The difference compared to a non-as-is contract is that the seller is not obligated to agree to make any repairs or any concessions to the buyer as part of a repair request. If that's the case, then the buyer may cancel the contract, get their escrow deposit back, and move on. Again, so long as that is done during the inspection period that's spelled out in the contract. However, in most cases, there is some negotiation between the buyer and the seller to come to an agreement for repairs. That being either the seller agrees to make some of the repairs or possibly gives the buyer a credit at the time of closing for the buyer to make those repairs after they own the home. So just remember that an as-is contract doesn't always mean that it's 100% as is. If you're buying a home, make sure to do your inspections. If there are major unexpected issues discovered during the inspection, then try to negotiate with the seller for an acceptable solution. Just don't ask the seller to repair every little cosmetic issue because they're likely to dig in their heels and just say no. If you are the seller, just remember that the buyer can request repairs or a credit even with an as-is contract, but you're under no obligation to say yes and agree to what they're requesting. Just be prepared if you flat out say no, the buyer may cancel the contract and move on. The best practice is to try to stay open-minded whether you're the buyer or the seller when it comes to negotiating repairs, and try to come to an agreement if the requests are reasonable. So there you have it. That's a little bit of background on the FAR as-is contract that we use here in the state of Florida. If you have any questions about the contract itself or anything real estate related, I'm never too busy to help you. My contact information is down below, so I would love to hear from you. Please click the thumbs up and like this video if you did. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week.